Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show, Dedicated to the Craft, a podcast brought to you by Ballast. I'm Jeff Lozano. I'm your host, and we did it. I think we are on the final stretch of what has been a chaotic year for all of us. But we thought, what better way to kind of end it than to bring on some good friends from the San Diego beer community, open up a couple of festive beers from different local breweries around town, and we paired them with some sugar cookies, and it was spice and everything nice. Me and Kobe sat down with Brandon Hernandez from SD Beer News, who is the most festive human that I've ever met, and he was really jolly on this episode. We talked about what he was up to this year, and then we brought on Paul Segura from Karl Strauss Brewing. We tasted some of their beers too. It was great, and we have a surprise visit from somebody that you might know. So tune into the show and crack open a couple of beers and enjoy the remainder of this year. And let's cheers to a better 2021. Thanks for listening, guys. Subscribe, like, follow. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. What's going on, everybody? Saludos. Hey, listen, you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on this episode, this 2020 recap episode of Dedicated to the Craft. I'm super stoked to have you guys on. We have Brandon Hernandez, SD Beer News. We have Danielle and Paul coming to us from, are you guys at Karl Strauss right there? Rad. Coming in from Karl Strauss. And of course, we have Kobe Chandler from his festive nook. What's up, dude?
Had a big lunch, drank a lot of water, getting ready for this show.
Oh yeah, my liver is like still pleading with me, like, don't do this, dude. Don't do this.
I took a hike yesterday just to be prepared for all of the gluttony that's going to take place, which I'm looking forward to.
Earn your booze, man. Can I say that right now I feel like I'm super Scroogey now that Brandon is the most festive person in the county right now, which is awesome.
What can I say? I owe it to my wife. We are that couple.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, listen, let's crack open some beers, man. Let's get to chatting about everything that we were able to do in 2020, not about what we weren't able to do in 2020. I'm looking forward to cracking some of these beers open because I've been staring at them since yesterday. Let's start with Abnormal's beer, man. This candy cane ice cream cake imperial milk porter. It's a mouthful.
Delicious mouthful.
Let's go. Oh, salud. I might just drink this out of.
Judicial on the mint, the peppermint. Not too much. It's nice.
All right, guys. So we're going to start off with this beautiful beer from Abnormal, and then we're going to go into a few other local breweries' festive renditions of what they do, and we're going to pair it with some cookies and Brandon's chocolatey balls, and we will explain that in a little bit. Oh, look at the platter. Oh, what do you got there, Kobe?
Hey, man, it's my whole Friday. I'm into it.
Little bonus that I put in everybody's little care package.
I think it's only appropriate that we take that shot.
It'd be a good way to start the hour off.
Kobe, explain because you gave me one yesterday for the show, and it went over my head. So,
it's just been in bars for a long time. Classic aperitif or digestive at Toronado. One way or another. Lots of herbs, a little bit of alcohol.
Hey, hold it up to the camera real quick, everybody. I want everybody to get on this one.
Flavor.
Underberg.
Yeah.
Actually, it'll go good with the peppermint. I kind of like the pairing there.
Yeah, that's the pairing. That's the pairing for our first beer. The digestif for the aperitif. All right, guys. Saludos.
Cheers. I'll be damned. That does really create a nice little bridge.
Mm.
I don't think I'll do it all the time.
Man, that's good.
Nice.
Dang, dude.
It's Friday.
It tastes like Brandon's living room. Oh, it's so festive. So much spice and everything nice.
Oh,
all right, guys. So listen, it's a pleasure to be talking to everybody, and we're at the end of this. Hopefully, this is the tail end of a lot of things, but it definitely is the tail end of this year. 2020 was insane, and I don't think we have to remind anybody about it, but there was a lot of things that we couldn't do, especially in the craft beer industry. I don't want to talk about that anymore. I'm done with it. Let's talk about all the things that we were able to do. And that's kind of the point of this episode. So that's it. Let's just chat about all the cool things that we were able to figure out about our community, our collaborative spirit, and everybody that just kind of dug deep to support us throughout these really difficult times.
Well, speaking from a personal point of view, and one of the reasons I do have my finger on any kind of pulse is because I've been writing about beer for over 13 years, but this year in the pandemic created actually an opportunity for me to do something that as most writers, you dream about, what if I could just do it my way? Having editors is great. It's really helpful. It's great to work on assignment, but you always wonder, if I had done that article my way, or if I had my own website, my own publication, what would it be like? And this year, I created my own, San Diego Beer News, San Diego Beer.news. And it has daily reporting on things that are going on all over the brewing industry here in San Diego. And sometimes when it touches California, like with CCB or something like it, that you might see it too. But in addition to that, I wanted it to be a resource for people who either live in San Diego and want to know more about the beer scene, or they know everything and they want to keep up on everything, or they've never been here at all. Travelers, people who are coming here for the first time and want to be able to find what they're looking for in particular, or something around wherever they're staying. I wanted it to be a really quick guide that you could go to our interactive map and list of breweries, searchable by neighborhood, and find your best beer experience in San Diego, because we all know it's easy to have, just as long as you have a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance. So it's gone great, been a runaway success, and we've had something on the website, at least one thing per day, every single day since July. So it's good to be able, especially to support the brewers during these difficult times, these unprecedentedly difficult times, and also share some positive news that's still out there. So I think a lot of people were kind of surprised when Beer News came out, and they said, wow, there's actually good news happening as well. So it kind of gives you what you need in addition to all these hard lessons you get on the broadcast news. You also get to see the stories that are happening, that people are finding opportunities and they're banding together and helping each other out. I love that part.
Look, your page, SD Beer News, you're always at the cutting edge of all these stories. Like, you're the first one to break all these stories. How do you do it? Like, are you just constantly awake?
Yeah, actually, I am. It's one of my things I contend with. But I'm a workaholic by nature, just like most reporters. Like, it doesn't turn off. It's a way of life versus just kind of like doing a job. Plus, I'm passionate about it and I really love it. But honestly, a lot of it has to do with just the relationships I've made over the last 13 years, getting to meet, speak with, and work constantly with brewers at breweries all throughout the county. There's not one brewery in the entire county where I don't have somebody I can call on or ask things about, and that goes both ways. I really like the fact that people can reach out to me, and there's a good platform that they can share their news, or they feel comfortable with it, where they get more than just kind of like a generic write-up about something where it's like, oh, I saw something on Facebook, so here's 2 paragraphs based on nothing that I saw, but the one sentence that says what I saw on Facebook. It's like an extensive article where we're reading quotes, we're really diving into why what's happening is happening, giving some historical context as well as a view of what might be in the future, as much as the breweries want to share. And that's what it's really about. I take a real old school journalist approach to it, and over time, I think that just rewards itself as far as like the flow of information that comes my way and allows me to keep telling these stories. And I love that.
Dude, it's rad. And it's really in-depth journalism, but it's super digestible, which is, you're reaching beer lovers and beer drinkers. It has to be, at some point, it needs to be something that they can, real quick read. It's a quick read, but it's so full of the important.
Well, I try to look at it from what I would want to see. And I may be the first guy who ever writes more than he's read. I'm not a big reader, but I want to know what's going on. I think the one good thing about seeing so many outlets come via the internet over these years has been seeing, first it was like long form stuff that came down to be way too short. And now we're seeing that, like, where this little middle point is, where people who want all the information can get it, they could skim, they could do whatever they want, but it doesn't have to be a Pulitzer Prize winning 3,000 word article. You just have to get all the salient points in there and keep it flowing and easy. Like with beer, it doesn't have to be break out my thesaurus and prove what a great writer I am. It's really more about getting these quotes in there from people, and let's just talk like human beings, because that's what beer is about. That's the conversations you have over beer are just regular, casual, fun conversations like what we're doing here. So I try to convey that via the site too.
Brandon's got the most done this year of anybody in quarantine that I know. 100%. Not to mention, you just kind of like wrote a book.
Yeah, I wrote I took the first 3 months and wrote a novel. Banged out.
What'd you do this quarantine?
Banged out 500 pages. I will say I drank more beer too than I've drank my entire life in 1 year, but I also am in the best shape of my life. So go figure that one out. Yay,
You're
beer.
a walking conundrum.
Yeah, my wife would agree.
And you've grown a great beard as well. And I'll say I'm very thankful for Brandon. He's a great resource for information. And all of us know we can call him at any time and get the scoop on whatever it is that we're curious about. And we see the emails coming across asking us if there's anything new at our place that we want to share or get out there. So, he's an excellent resource, and I'm very thankful that he's in our community and helping all of us.
Well, you're good at it. You're really good at it. And I think I think because you've been in the industry and you rub elbows with industry people, you kind of know the proper format, the kind of cadence that's going to relate to everybody that wants this information. But you also bleed over into writing in such a way, a captivating way, that you're also bringing in attention from people that don't know that they want to read about beer, which is kind of cool.
To me, that's a very important part of this. Is we want to bring more people in the fold. That's what craft beer needs more than anything. And people see the astronomical rise over the last decade plus, like 2 decades, but they forget that we still only reach probably like 20% of people. There's still like a whole world of people who haven't discovered it yet, and there's always young people who are just getting to drinking age and haven't seen it yet. So I try to keep it so it's interesting in that regard, and also things that people might want to share on social media, even if they're not so much into beer. It's like it's related to business or their neighborhood or whatever it might be, or the personalities behind it. That way they're encouraged to share it. Somebody learns something new, learns there's a brewery in their backyard they didn't even know about, and that's really cool too. The other thing that I have, an ace up my sleeve, is that so that I get a day off every now and then, is that I have these really great columnists, one of which is here, who lend their own special flavor to what we're doing and come from a completely different perspective than I do. Colby just put together this rad disc golf piece, and if you haven't seen it, you have to go look at it. But it's about the fling they do at San Diego Beer Week every year. It's an 11-year tradition, right? 10 year, 11 year. At any rate, he can tell you.
Well, it was kind of around craft beer and disc golf with the fling loosely gluing it together. But yeah, it's one of the fun things that I've done my whole craft brewing career, basically. And it's just something that's super approachable, doesn't take a lot of time, and doesn't drain my wallet. So it's actually, that's been my savior this 2020, is being able to get out and walk around a park with some friends, and basically ruin a good walk and throw some plastic.
Well, look, essentially what's going on is we're in the business. All of us here are in the business of making crappy times less crappy with what we're doing, right? Whether it's releasing a captivating piece of article that's going to get you in the mood to crack open a cold one, whether it's going to get you in the mood to go out there and pick up frisbee golf, or whether you're tuning into Beer for Breakfast over there with Paul and Danielle and going like, hey, I'm about to start my day. This is the raddest way to start my day. Oh, there you go. And with that, let's turn it up to 11.
Maybe while we're opening this, you guys can kind of give a little, I don't know, you've talked to so many people this year as well. What were your kind of standout moments with Beer for Breakfast and what's gone on this year? You got to have, just one or two that just you think of right away, right?
Yeah, as soon as we had to pivot, like, what are we going to do for Beer for Breakfast, not having the breweries anymore, I really have to give it up to the brewers that really came out and joined us and made their, setup look really great. Gosh, honestly, Colby, off the top of my head, you are one of them, because you, first of all, gave us pairings, and second of all, made your nook look so awesome that it really made Paul and I be like, oh gosh, we need to do something with our background. So that was a really fantastic one. Another one that was super awesome was honestly Sierra Nevada. We did it a couple weeks ago, and it was Celebration coming out, and it was just really cool to be able to talk to the folks up at Sierra Nevada via the internet now because, we don't get to talk to the big people because they're up in NorCal. So that has definitely been a plus on the 2020 side of Beer for Breakfast. What about you?
What I've enjoyed seeing is the way the community has come out and supported their local brewery, getting beer to go, getting growlers to go, cans, bottles, and whatever they could do. It could have been much worse had, the communities that these small breweries live in weren't supported by, the people who live next door and grab beer and take it home and go drink it and all that stuff. So it's been pretty awesome to see the way the communities have supported small breweries. I'm really stoked on that.
Yeah. One of the cool aspects of what we're involved in and what we saw throughout this whole pandemic, or what we're seeing through it, I guess, is we make a commodity, right? Like, you technically don't need us to survive. As far as beer is not to a lot of people, myself not included, it's not part of a full, a balanced diet or whatever. It's something that you're going to go out there and you're going to use your disposable income on, right? So something that I at least personally saw throughout the course of this whole thing was the conscious consumer was at a point where they were really voting with their dollar, and they were really taking that moment at the liquor store, at their market, to go, where's this buck going to go? I'm going to get beer. I'm going to get something that's going to ease the pain, or I need to find some sort of joy throughout this whole thing. Where's my dollar going to go? And that we really saw that it was going towards local breweries, local mom and pop shops and stuff. And nobody ever wishes to bring this kind of, test and or to give this test, but it's here. And people really dug deep. Brewers, consumers, everybody associated in mom and pop shop, small business, really dug deep.
I went out and bought 40 pints at a time. And I'd go buy 5-gallon kegs from the local breweries and fill up my kegerator, basically. So it was not only helping them, but it was also giving me a chance to really, get familiar with a certain style from a certain brewery. And I don't know, it was kind of a luxury having a little bar in my garage, basically, a little good variety of taps. It's pretty sweet. So
Brandon, did you struggle? Brandon, did you struggle at all with the articles that you were writing about how to balance the kind of doom and gloom stories that we also need to know about, but also the success stories in the industry? Did any of that kind of cross your mind? Like, when you were writing and releasing articles?
It wasn't really a struggle so much. Just trying to keep the pandemic in mind as just kind of this, kind of almost in the inset of the article. Like, it's part of it. It colors it, but it's not the whole story. It's really just about what's happening. And I just take the news as it comes. So there really isn't a whole lot of thought that goes into it, as so much as just what's occurring. That's what I write about. So while the introductory paragraph may speak to the context of the pandemic, what I try to do actually is get past that part as quickly as possible and just show the good news, bad news, whatever it may be at that point. There's one thing I forgot to mention, by the way. These two aces here to my left, right? Okay. Anyway,
I'm drunk.
You can get to all of their archived episodes on San Diego Beer.news, by the way, and I'm pretty honored by that. And then you can also get all the archive dedicated to the craft podcast there too. So before I forget to mention that, I just wanted to bring that up because this is look at all this stellar firepower I've got. That's before I've even written an article, so it's pretty rad.
Well, Brandon, honestly, the minute that you asked if Beer for Breakfast wanted to be a part of SC Beer News, I was like, you're kidding, right? Like, you want us to be part of it. Thank you so much for making us a part of your community. Really, like, you have really brought us together.
Well, that's great, because it's just like the brewing community. Everybody's together in everything, and so it's perfect representation as far as I'm concerned. Thank you for the question.
One-stop shop, right? For all beer news, and then I also like that it's documenting what's going on.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And there's now that I've been with Ballast for a hot minute, there's employees there that weren't alive when I started working there, so telling them about stories and getting the rights, the story right for them, and not hearing some passed on story through 5 people that is totally embellished. Now it's nice to have not only what Beer for Breakfast is doing and talking with people and having all this video archive, but I mean, it's literally history. It's going to be fun to look back on this in 10, 20 years and see where we were and see what we were doing. And I mean, you hear it from, the mouth of the people doing it, which is what everybody needs to do. So speaking of going in my mouth and hearing from the mouth of the person that made a beer,
dude,
let's take it to 11. You want to talk about this
one
beer?
Goes to 11 and it's delicious. This is amazing.
I kind of challenged everybody today to come up with a cookie and beer pairing. So the first thing Paul said was, I don't cook. I am not a baker. I don't understand how I'm going to do this. What's going on? I'm like, go to the store, get a cookie, man. Who cares? So it's fun to see what he got because it's kind of similar to what I got almost. A little Pepperidge Farm.
These strawberry cookies, man, are legit.
Strawberry. Gotcha. All right, so let's try the beer. Let's talk about it.
Yours cookies were made with love by hand by you. Mine are just like cheap store-bought stuff. But I do happen to think they go well with the beer.
It doesn't matter. Here's the one thing I want to break up right now. It doesn't matter if it's store-bought or if you made it. If it's a good pairing, it's a good pairing. I'd like more store-bought pairings to happen just as an introductory. So it's not so, 3-hour, $100 dinner-ish, it doesn't have to be so complicated. It's just beer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So sorry to interject that in real quick.
I got these with love. You made yours with love.
We're love rich. We're love rich.
The beer itself is just an American Imperial Red that was fermented and aged a short while on French oak chips. It's, I don't know, you guys embellish it a little bit, and I'm grateful and flattered and everything. It's a fun tasting beer, and it was fun to make. It was kind of a play off a beer that we did a long time ago, our 21st anniversary beer, where we used old vine Zinfandel grapes and aged it in French oak. And we kind of just wanted to bring it back because it was a fun beer back then. It's kind of a fun beer now. And it is very jammy when you feel red, but then the finish is kind of dominated by this almost grape or strawberry or jammy-like flavor. And then you kind of get a French oak in the finish, which is really toasty and slightly char-like. And it does go nicely with these strawberry Morona cookies, I think. Kind of fun.
This is what Santa wants, bro. This is what Santa wants. This is what Santa sends himself.
It's soft. Like, did you use grape skins or was it just the juice?
It was concentrated juice. It was about 80 bricks, so it was very concentrated. And literally a 55-gallon drum went into about 120 barrels of wort. Primary fermentation was cow yeast. The original version of this used a blend of cow yeast and I think WLP 500, which is a Belgian strain. And it was kind of a hybrid of cow and Belgian, but this one was just straight up cow. Fermented cold though. We didn't want a lot of esters. We did want it a little bit drier than this. This came in at about 9.3% ABV. It doesn't drink like it though, because it is fairly dry, but it'll sneak up on you.
It's soft. It's like got a nice softness, to it, like a water kind of softness almost.
It's really making that strawberry pop from the cookie.
Yeah, I like the way that the finish on the beer keeps the cookie from becoming too sweet. It almost takes the cookie to a biscuity place that just happens to have some fruit there in the mid palate. It's like you start out, you're in cookie land, and then by the time you're done, it's like you're in England eating a tea biscuit or something like that. It's just really, but yeah, the way the grape character and the strawberry character come together, it brings out more of the wine, the red wine grape. It takes to more of a berry place to me, and almost takes the strawberry to an orangey place. Oddly enough, I don't know if that's the hops or what, but
your favorite color.
It's really good. Yes, exactly. Nice.
I like the shortbread. Kind of reminds me of malt too, like a Munich malt. You know what I mean? Like that kind of nutty, victory, breadiness kind of a thing going on. So I mean, it's obviously just that's a good harmonious Complementary bridge flavor for sure.
Yeah, it definitely works. And you can get off put a little bit by the introduction of the beer is jammy and very grape forward. And then the cookie, which is that strawberry jamminess is trying to shine. So you're like, is this going to be a little bit too much of this fruit kind of thing going on? But it works really well together. And it's probably held together by, like what Colby was saying, that biscuity component that kind of interjects and says, hey, let's balance everything out.
Way to go, Pepperidge Farms.
It's a sauce. It's a good sauce.
It's a sauce.
It's a sauce.
Dude, this is delicious, man. Like I said,
sauce.
I cracked it open for the team a little bit before the show. Everybody was loving it. I barely got it enough for the show because everybody wanted to kill that bottle. So good job, man.
What happens after the 12th? The 12th run, the 12th year, the 12 years of Christmas? What happens?
Yeah, this is the 11th installment of our 12 Beers of Christmas. I'm not sure what we're going to do after that. We may just wing it. Who knows? Maybe we'll start it up again. I don't know.
Holiday IPAs, the annual holiday IPA.
Well, if Spinal Tap can kick it up to 11, why can't you guys kick it up to 13? Own it. We're gonna change the game.
Just keep adding up to the song.
The 365 days of Christmas beers.
Do you guys have a favorite grape varietal that you drink a lot? No, I'm serious. Do you have a wine? Do you like a style that you drink? Do you Sauvignon Blanc, Zinfandel, Merlot, like wine cooler? I don't know what.
Ooh.
I'm big into Mourvèdre. I like Mourvèdre.
Mourvèdre, nice. So dark, not too tannic.
Yeah, I love going to Paso.
Juicy, like a Mourvèdre, like Syrah kind of thing.
Yeah, I like the GSMs and Grenache Syrah.
Better.
Classic. Yeah.
What about you guys? What about you, Danielle?
You guys are super fancy. I like to go to Trader Joe's and get the Charles Straw.
Thank you.
It's only like $1.99 a bottle, guys.
$1 check or whatever.
Is that not okay? That's not okay.
It's perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you what you like. That's not my job.
Absolutely.
I drink a bottle of Thunderbird out of a paper bag.
Oh my god. Oh. That just made my angels uncomfortable.
Your beer bonging angels.
That was my jam in high school. Was Thunderbird. Oh, that's bad. That was horrible. Yeah, it was pretty gross. Well, what do you eat? Yours was 151, Brandon. What are you talking about?
Hey, I love it. I still like it. It's so crazy. If you pour, now I'm not gonna. I don't pour it for myself.
Straight up.
But the one time we messed around and had it again, 151 on the rocks. I was like, this just takes me home somehow. I don't know.
It's funny how fast you can light that on fire.
Yeah, it's probably its best use. Lighting it on fire.
And you don't really need it. It doesn't. The flame doesn't need to come in contact with the liquor at all. You just hold it near the bottle, and it will spark up. It's pretty intense. All right, let's keep this rocket, this wobbly train going. Whoa, what are we doing here?
Look at this can victory.
Yeah.
Who would have thought it? I'm telling you, dude. All the unknowns were coming out in 2020.
You know how long I've been waiting for can victory at sea? Man.
It's not regular. It's not regular can victory at sea either.
It doesn't matter. It's still victory at sea in a can. But the caramel and the salt is a bonus.
Yeah, so we had to postpone our Victory at Sea day for obvious reasons, but for anybody listening that doesn't know what that is, every year we have Victory at Sea Day, where our Victory at Sea Imperial Porter has a bunch of different varietals that we do. Salted caramel is one of them. We decided to can it for a very, very, very limited run, and then we've done everything but like Gym Socks Victory at Sea at this point. We've done everything, man, and so it depends on whose Gym Socks.
It's got a real funk.
Yeah. And we're pushing it to 2021, and we're hoping that the beer gods play nice with us. So let's crack open. I'm actually gonna crack open some High West Victory at Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh baby, look at
both.
that! Jesus Christ!
Just holding out for Colby's bathwater Victory at Sea. There's going to be a Colby's bathwater Victory at Sea at some point, I hope.
It ages poorly though.
No, I won't even drink that.
It has a little bit of lavender and rose petal.
So we actually got 3 beers and 2 pairings because they all kind of go together, right?
Let's do this.
You can do the strawberry shortbread, or you can do. I made a kind of a Manhattan inspired Luxardo cherry shortbread, and I reduced down some bourbon and threw it in the cookie as well. So the idea being kind of, playing off the Victory at Sea High West bourbon barrel. By the way, you guys look at the bottom of that bottle. Did you see the age? We're almost at 3 years on it. I think it was January 18, which is kind of cool. So we're going to have recipes too. Brandon's sweaty chocolate balls and
Sweaty.
And then these guys too.
Melts in
It's not
your
that
mouth.
humid here where I'm at, dude.
I always feel like the whiskey oak barrel too kind of lends some cherry to the beer as well. So I think, even though there's no cherries in the barrel age, it's still kind of a bridge flavor between the two.
Dude, this is amazing. This pairing is awesome.
I really like it. I'm going back in.
I'm doing it with the barrel aged Victory at Sea and the subtle saltiness of the Cookie Man with that sweetness of that of the fruit. Man, that's a beautiful balance right there with this beer.
There was a lot of dark fruit in there, and you get old like aged cherry. I guess a lot of cocoa. Wow, this is really complex, man. Just layers of flavor. I get
like
raisins and dates going on too.
like a powdered cocoa.
Mm-hmm. And the way that it's dancing with the buttery component of this cookie is awesome.
Yeah, well done on the cookies. Delicious. I do want that recipe. That's gonna be great.
I want to see footage of him actually baking them. They're really good. Almost like too good.
See, now most journalists hang out at town hall meetings. I get to hang out with these guys. No brainer.
I love it, man. Dude, you might have, I tell a lot of people a lot of the time that I have a really rad job. You might have the raddest job because you are, you're writing about all the brewers. You're drinking your incentive to drink is at an all-time high.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I'm not on Padres commercials. So you got me on that. That was pretty awesome. Every time that commercial came on, I'm like, I know that guy.
All 5 of us have the raddest jobs ever.
That's something to be grateful for sure. I mean, the fact of the matter is that not only do we have jobs that we enjoy, we have jobs that produce things that our consumers, our fans really enjoy almost more. And that is something that I think we should be grateful for. I'm always grateful for. I'm like, listen, I do make beer and I do this and I hang out with rad people like yourselves, but thank you. You're the judge. You are the one that makes whatever we do worthwhile. If you don't like it, we're not doing our job. We're not doing it well. And it's always this beautiful synergistic relationship that the beer maker has with the beer reviewer, with the consumer and all that stuff. So I always think about that.
It's 2020 and we all still have jobs. Cheers to that.
Oh,
hell yeah, baby. Salud, caballero.
I always think if you're passionate about brewing, then you're passionate about sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of, it's one of my favorite characteristics of a good brewer is that, he wants your opinion. He wants to share it. He wants to get it out there. It's somebody painting a picture and not having anybody look at it really doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
That's part of the art. That is a very interesting way of looking at it. Paul, over there at Karl Strauss, throughout the course of this year, once the tornado started to touch ground, what are some of the what are the positive aspects that happened over in your neck of the woods throughout this whole thing?
Well, I mean, I have to say I'm really grateful that we have the ability to package beer, because if we were 100% draft, it would be extremely painful right now, given that all the bars and restaurants are closed. But the fact that we were able to put, a lot of our beer into cans and bottles and get them into grocery stores and liquor stores and all of that is really, that's been our savior here. It's probably not much different at Ballast Point or any other packaging brewery. The grocery store sales are up, I don't know, 40%, something like that. So it's, people are still drinking. They're just not drinking in the bars and restaurants. They're out, they're going to the grocery stores and liquor stores and buying it and taking it home, or they're stopping at their local brewery and filling, crowlers and growlers and taking that home. But it doesn't seem like they've really stopped. If anything, maybe because they've got a lot more free time. Perhaps they're drinking even more. I don't know, but our packaging team that I'm really thankful for. They work really hard. They've been working full time since this thing started, and we've been putting more beer into cans and bottles, during COVID than we had prior, which is amazing. So I'm thankful for that.
Times are good, people drink. When times are bad, people drink more.
Well, it's been nice to see the innovation poke out. Innovation was seeping through the woodwork this year, and it kind of goes against, and it's kind of contrary to what you would think. And you think breweries would come out and be a little bit more conservative and kind of really lean on what works. But we've seen, I've read so many articles and we've seen so many breweries coming out with new beers, and it's almost as if this was their time to really showcase what they can do and the resiliency and really shine a light on that innovative spirit. I know I've seen it with Karl Strauss, and I've read, Brandon, more than anything, you wrote a lot about some of these expansions and some of these new beers.
Oh, definitely. I have to say that I've just been so impressed with the way that the brewing community has really upped their game in this hard, like the most impossible situation. You see this pandemic coming. We watched what happened in March, and I am sure, like many others, I was sitting here wondering, like, how are they going to deal with this? This is really difficult stuff. And it's not like breweries are Fortune 500 companies that have high-paid CEOs and a bunch of executives and contingency plans and things like that. At their core, they're artisanal businesses, and a lot of times passion projects with very few employees, and in many cases, very bootstrapped. And so you wonder, will they be able to contend with this? And I think that, at least in San Diego, and I think across the United States, you've seen people just really put on their big boy pants and just show what they can do. It's like, get out of my way and watch what I can do. Check this out. I'm going to pivot and pivot again. And through it all, I'm going to do a really good job of it. And I've been just surprised. It's not like I had low hopes for them, but I was like, man, I knew you were capable of a lot, but I had no idea just how much you all were capable of.
Right.
This is awesome. Way to go. I am just floored by the innovation that's been there, and the teamwork and the sweat that's gone into everything. And also, it's remarkable how few breweries have gone out of business to this point. I think it's just amazing and a testament to how great our breweries are and how much greater than even we thought they were that they are.
Well, sir, I'm mid cookie here, dude. This pairing's amazing.
On that note, Jeff, try the Luxardo cherry cookie with 11.
Let me do that right now.
That's really good.
Let me do that right now.
And then the strawberry cookie is actually really good with the salted caramel Victory at Sea. It's kind of like that lingering caramel flavor with the shortbread is kind of nice. It's kind of cool. Makes me look forward to some chocolate.
Oh,
and a visit by Santa.
Kobe, that cookie that you made with that beer that Paul made.
That came out good.
Yeah, that's a pairing, dude. That is good.
That's good.
Cash Colby is, right? I mean, look at the guy. He's sexy as hell. He's smart as hell. He brews great beer. Then he can cook. I mean,
oh yeah, try the 11 with that cookie.
No wonder Tammy snatched him up.
That's how I got my wife.
You just left beer and cookies out. I'm just like, hey.
Oh, I wish it was that easy.
right down the chimney. Yep.
This pairing is amazing. Marry me. This is awesome, man. This is really awesome.
I mean, you got to eat, right? So it's I don't know. I like going out and having dinners at places, that I don't have that ambiance, and then I can't cook that meal. That to me is going out. You know what I mean? So because a lot of things that you go out for are super easy to make at your house. It's just a matter of practice, like anything. So, but when I go out, it's kind of fun to have.
There's gonna be
hours and hours at home to do.
There's gonna be a hunger and a thirst to get out and go out and dine out like we've never seen before after this all blows over and everybody starts to feel a little bit more comfortable about going out to their local restaurants and breweries and stuff. And what we've done in the meantime, what we've done in the downtime, which is, continue to talk about why understanding your own palate is so important, understanding how these pairings work, why they work. I think we're just going to unleash a lot more avid pairers into the world once this all blows over, man. And people are going to be really excited, not just to go out, but to go out and pair.
Sorry.
Oh, he's translating. He was translating because he also understands how important that is.
Hey, Paul, did you pull an LLC for a guitar repair shop this year?
I did not.
No? Why not?
I hooked up a lot of friends, though. It was a lot of fun. I took about 3 weeks off when COVID first started, and I started going crazy. I started getting cabin fever. I said, I got to do something. And I let some friends know that I was kind of open for business, my guitar tech stuff, and the floodgates opened and guys started bringing me their guitars to work on. And within a couple of weeks, I think I worked on about 10 or 12 guitars. Just local musicians, guys that I'm friends with, started bringing me their guitars, and I started doing modifications and repairs. That was a lot of fun. But then I got called back to work, and it's been full time ever since.
Hell yeah, baby!
I'm looking for a little amp so that I can borrow Brandon's bass.
Yep.
Make sure it goes up to 11, though. I think that's standard, right?
I know him myself.
I've got a bass case you could borrow. Actually, bring your bass to the Garage Mahal, and we'll rock out.
There it is.
Dude, I just cracked open the Santa's Little Helper. Holy shit. This is like Pepe Le Pew stuff where like you crack this open and it doesn't matter who's around and you're gonna float to whatever's emitting this aroma. How beautiful. It's been a long time since I've had this beer, man.
Well, this year's has the hazelnuts and coffee in it. So sometimes they just do it straight and other times they have variants. And this time they went this direction. And so, it should pair really well with something chocolatey, something coffee-ish, and something nutty. Yeah, something nutty like nuts, balls, whatever. Yeah, it's all great. So I actually have to. I only get 50% of the credit on this pairing because my wife and I took it as a challenge together. She's the baker in the family. I'm the cook in the family, and luckily she loves imperial stouts. And she's like, "Okay, I know what we could do. It's not a cookie, but it's going to have all the ingredients that you really need to make this come togeted." So you're thinking hazelnuts. Immediately she thought of Nutella. And so Nutella and chocolate, and then espresso powder has been added as well into this ganache that this no-bake kind of like ball is coated in. So basically you've got Nutella, confectioner's sugar, butter, which everybody loves, chocolate and espresso powder, and I think it should go well. And one thing I like when I was testing it is that because there's no bread, no cookie component, it kind of melts in your mouth. My balls kind of melt in your mouth.
I see that.
And then when you drink the beer with it, it makes this nice little seamless, viscous thing. So give it a whirl.
Dude,
this is loaded.
Your balls are amazing. These go great together.
And
Your first ball dropped in my beer.
Your balls are loaded.
Dude, this is amazing. That's good too, man. This is
I kind of like
a very
that.
good approach. A very good approach to the.
That's what I wish
the
Reese's
construction of the treat.
Oh, good.
Well, good. I'm glad that worked out. All right. I think it'll go really good with the salted caramel Victory C as well. Guess we'll have to find out.
I think and you go back to the cocoa comment from before too. For the barrel aged. Because the barrel age kind of adds that sherry kind of oxidized flavor in there too.
I love this, man.
Really
I
fun.
love this. It's beautiful because we're giving everybody listening or watching some rad ideas, not just like legitimately exactly what could work together, but some of these flavor components and building bridges theoretically so that they can go out and build their own pairings. And I think that we have with the 3 cookies and the 3 pairings that we did with the 3 beers, I think there's enough for anybody listening or watching to go home, try something out in their kitchen, bake something. When we can all get together again, bring a little bit of a pairing experience to their next Christmas party or whatever the hell. It's going to be Christmas all year next year anyways, so everyone's going to just want to eat chocolate and drink beer all throughout 2021 anyways. This is awesome, man. This is good.
Yeah, I like
Sam's
Jello.
Little Helper has
Sweet.
like this I can't get it like past a coconut kind of feeling.
Now, when I first opened it, the first thing I could smell was coconut, and then I thought it had coconut in it. I checked the label and everything, but that hazelnut I get is kind of doing like double duty, it would seem.
Yeah, it's kind of got that the Maui coconut porter kind of feel to it, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
There was coconut in there. I'm surprised to learn there's not.
Maybe they had a
Exactly.
labeling thing, you know, like they couldn't get the license or the approval on the label. Like, oh, we changed it from coconut to hazelnut. Sure.
Maybe they used something in there.
I'm not going for that.
What a great festive beer, man. What a great just Christmas time beer.
Maybe coconut is the coriander of these types of beers. You know, you never really talk about it in the Belgian beers, but coconut's always in the background, you know?
Yeah, it's always a staple. Oh, man, that's good. What was your favorite pairing? What was your favorite pairing? Mix and match. What worked best together?
For me, it was Karl Strauss and Pepperidge Farms. That really went well. One seamlessly went into the other, each amplified the other, brought them into balance at the same time. I liked it a lot.
I like I like the 11 Luxardo. That hit a cherry right there at the end. I thought that really went good with the red. Complimentary.
These cookies with the High West victory.
Ooh.
See, I really like Brandon's balls with the salted corn roll victory at sea.
Yeah. That was a good one too. I just like Brandon's balls. I guess they go good with everything, but just
Who doesn't?
really took the show. Really
I've
took
never
the show
felt more
here.
like a Baldwin brother in my whole life.
Oh man.
It's on his balls that kind of cleanses like the palate. And,
Just a touch.
yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
My
And
balls are here for your pleasure.
What
That's
would
the line,
we
right?
do without your balls? I mean, the texture alone is just amazing.
Well,
And it doesn't take a lot of beer either. You know what I mean? It dissolves so quick and it's so light, you know, on the palate. It's like, yeah, it's nice.
All right, so look, listen.
Yay, sugar.
While we get to the point where we're going to start wrapping this up, I did want to ask you guys something. So, beers that we paired aside, what is you're coming home for the holidays and you're bringing a 6-pack or a 4-pack or a 750 ounce milliliter bottle of something? What beer, besides the ones that we've drank today, are your festive favorites? Even if they're second place to what we tasted today. Go ahead, Paul.
Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale with gingerbread cookies.
Woo!
I don't know. That's just
It's a staple.
it's a staple.
You should always have Celebration in your fridge when it's out. Danielle?
Yeah.
It's
I'd
not
follow that up.
Beer by any means, but I would totally take home the Butcher from Society and pair it up with some homemade fudge.
Ooh. Homemade, though. It has to be homemade.
Why is it homemade? Come on.
Normally, I like Celebration paired with Celebration.
Yeah.
I'm simple, man.
Seems to be fitting.
Or
St. Bernardus out there. St. Bernardus is always like for me. Every year at Christmas, I go and I have to have at least 1 pint of St. Bernardus.
Brandon. I know it's Brandon.
Okay, so Paul stole my Saint Bernardus, but I also really love Scaldus Noel. I love Scaldus Noel, but if I want to bring a beer somewhere where no one's going to touch it but me and it's all to myself, then I bring Jolly Pumpkin Noel de Calabaza, and
Oh
I
yeah.
just sit there and mac on that for a little while. It's always funky and different every year, so it's literally wild and great.
Rad, dude. That's fun. That's a good strategy, by the way. I'm gonna bring a beer that no one's really gonna want to touch, and I'm gonna be able to enjoy it. Everyone's gonna go like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." No thanks, and you're like, "Cool, thanks." Put it in
More
my
like,
thing.
"Are you crazy?" is kind of the reaction anytime. Hey, give it a sip. You like this? Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's way more economical if you don't develop a taste for it. So you're in a good place.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Another shout out before we end is that our bottle shops, our local bottle shops, Bottle Craft, Vine and Vine, all of these places that we appreciate all the love from consumers that were going straight to the brewery to pick up their stuff. But everybody that got our beer or any local beer through local bottle shops, they have been so good and have stepped up to the plate to keep relative new beer in stock, not really knowing if it's going to sell, not really knowing if anyone's going to really come in and get that particular stuff. I've just been so impressed walking into bottle shops, picking up holiday beers and seeing the selection and hearing great things about how well they're doing.
Amen to that.
It was rad, man. It was really rad. So, I mean, this year has been a damper for many reasons, but it's also been a really, really, really great time to remind ourselves what we're capable of when we get together, what we're capable of when we come together, how important community is to our industry. And I really do. I really am appreciative of everybody that took that dollar, that disposable income that really quick became non-disposable income and still went the way of mom and pop shops, restaurants, breweries, and places everywhere. So I think that's a good way to end this cluster of a year, right?
You know, Colby said it earlier, good times and bad, people still drink beer. It's kind of I mean, we used to say it was recession resistant. Now we can say it's pandemic.
Put that on a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you mind if I ask one quick question of
Absolutely,
all of
brother.
you? Because it's something I've actually wondered about. How does it feel in these weird times to know that for a lot of people on a daily basis, the things that you were creating have been kind of the light at the end of the tunnel on a daily basis, something to look forward to when there's not a lot to look forward to? Has that impacted you, or have you even thought of that? But I think it's pretty cool.
You guys could take it away before I say my little spiel.
I mean, it's not any more than it always has. I mean, I take it pretty seriously. You know what I mean? It's I think you lose sight of that a little bit because of all the excess chatter that's in your life sometimes, you know? And I think, you know, when it comes down to it, you start to, I think 2020 has kind of focused people into what's important to them. You know what I mean? If you have a choice to get this much stuff, what do you get? You know what I mean? You go out and get the stuff that's important to you. And I think that, you know, no matter what libation that is or what kind of to-go food that is, you know what I mean? It's a good way to have an escape a little bit, you know? And maybe for that one sip, you know, that first cold bottle, you kind of like forget about things for a little bit, you know, and just kind of take that nice deep breath and just kind of chill out a little bit and look forward to sharing that experience again with people close to you. What about you guys? Danielle?
Oh, man. I would just really say that the thing about all of it is just really using the platforms that we have to make just people aware. And that's been the biggest part of it, especially going into 2021, is just making it aware that where your dollars go do matter. And keeping it local does matter. And, you know, think I saw something on social media that like before you make the comment on the restaurant or the brewery that says we're shutting down, like go there. You know, don't make the comment of like, oh, had I known, because we're all in this same boat. And I think that that's been the biggest thing for me, is just making people more aware.
Into that, I think, I mean, I'm gonna get choked up, and I don't want to get choked up.
Do it.
I think I've seen a few places close, and it's broken my heart, man. You know, Tiger, Small Bar. There's been some great places that
Tornado.
yeah, and I wish the community kind of rallied more around those places. I know that those places did all that they could to stay open. You know, and people do have a choice where they spend their dollar and who they support. And Amazon has gotten rich during this time, and I still see a lot of people choosing to support local mom and pop, operations, and awesome, right? And like I said earlier in the show, a lot of people have chosen to buy their beer from independent local breweries. Awesome, instead of, I mean, Budweiser's going to get through this. I don't even know if I should have mentioned them on the show. I'm sorry, guys. The large breweries are going to get through this, but a lot of mom and pops, a lot of the smaller local breweries might not. I don't think we're out of the woods quite yet. Cheers to Second Chance Brewery and to the California Craft Brewers Association for their efforts in, getting brew pubs back open again. That's going to probably save some people. Hopefully the PPP will come back and help out the people that are just teetering right now on bankruptcy or shuttering. Sorry, I don't want to put a negative thing on because there's so much.
Dude, don't. It's not negative.
It's important.
Paul Segura positive spin. I know it's there.
Look, I
know it's there.
Say it how you feel it, brother.
I'm just really eternally grateful for everybody out there who chose to spend their dollars on local businesses, and I think right now we're seeing the tipping point, but I think we're going to make it. I think we're going to get through this, and people need to continue doing what they've been doing and supporting their local breweries and restaurants, and we're going to do this.
Hell yeah, man. In the early days of my introduction into the craft beer industry, I started with Ballast Point polishing porcelain. I was a janitor for this place, and I remember vividly one day as I was sweeping the floors of the Scripps Ranch production floor, somebody asked me what I did or what I did before that, right? And I said, oh, I was in the medical field. I was a nurse, and I dropped it all so that I can come work for a brewery. And they were. The eyebrow kind of went up and they're like, what the hell? What? Why would you do that? And I remember taking a deep breath and saying, I'm going to do this. It's going to be a little awkward, but I'm going to do this. But like, I asked him, said, hey man, you got 3 minutes? It was like a Thursday or Friday night. And I had just clocked in and they said, yeah, I got a minute. Hold on. So they got off the bottling line and I took them to the threshold that was from the back of the house into the front of the house. And when you're standing at that threshold, you can see the bar, you can see everybody inside of the tasting room. And I said, check this out, dude. Look what's happening right now. There was such an eclectic group of people all enjoying themselves. We had 2 blaring LCD flat screens on each side of the tasting room. Nobody was watching them. Everybody that had their phone out was only so that they could take a picture of their beer or take a picture of their friends enjoying what we were producing back there. And it's a reminder, and I remind myself all the time about that day where I said, this is why I chose to pivot, and this is the reason why I wanted to get into craft beer, because what you guys are doing back there, whether you're brewing it, whether you're cellaring it, whether you're putting a label on a bottle, you are helping facilitate this. Basically this world where everyone's just having a good time and intermingling with each other. So 2020 was a real reminder, at least personally, to why I was in this industry, because I haven't been so thirsty to get back to those days. I haven't been so anxious to get back to the days where we can all hang out in the tasting room and laugh and exchange stories again. So if 2020 has done anything for me, it's made me remember why I got into the industry in the first place and made me so just excited for what's going to become of this industry once this all blows over. That's my answer to that, I guess.
That's great. Wow.
Good answer.
Everybody's answer is great.
Hey, so a few times in my brewing career have I been able to take my passion, which is cookies, and combine it with beer. I love cookies. So thank you for being a part of my evil plan to just get cookies to my house. And with that, cheers to San Diego beers.
Cheers to San Diego beers, guys. Cheers to all of you.
Cheers to 2020 in the rearview mirror. Cheers to 2021. And cheers to my friends. Thanks for hanging out with us. What a great time.
Cheers.
Really, the pleasure is mine. All right, guys. That was amazing. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the rest of our episodes on Ballast Point's YouTube page, channel, whatever. You can follow us on ballastpoint.com, Instagram, Facebook, all that jam. I'll see you next time, and thanks for tuning in.